if you want to do $500,000, you got to walk like a $500,000 earner.
Yeah.
You got to walk like a $500,000 agent. You got to talk like one. So you got to be before you can do. You got to do before you can have, right?
What's a belief in the industry that needs to change?
I would love to let people know that you can be successful in a huge way, and still take care of people, still tell the truth, still make it easy for people. Because it's led to believe that the more arrogant you are, because unfortunately the arrogance is so much in our industry. And the more successful you get, the bigger agents he'd become, unfortunately. That's the case in not just New Zealand.
How are you, Nathan?
Good to be back, Bowie. I'm feeling good. Raining outside, the weather's cold, and you know what? I love cold weather now.
You do?
I do love cold weather now.
Why?
I get to snowboard. I used to trying to get away from cold, but now I'm like getting right in cold. So when it's cold, I go down to Central Otago and snowboard for
Do you do the jumps?
2 weeks. I'm not that good. I'm good, but I'm not that good.
I'm good.
Yeah. I don't do the jumps yet.
Yeah.
I'd love to one day.
There's nothing better, I reckon, than a sunny winter's day, like 10 degrees, and you walk outside, there's no wind, and it's just so fresh and crisp.
So amazing.
Yeah, that's like my favorite day.
Love it. So now I'm looking forward to it. July 11th to 25th. It's going to be amazing.
You'll be in the snow, I'll be in the sun.
You will be.
Yeah.
You're right, because you're going on a holiday, is that right? Good for you. Going to sunny Thailand. Is it all Europe somewhere?
It's Europe, a few
Lovely.
countries in Europe, so should be good. Yeah.
Bet it will be good.
All right, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different, beliefs and how we're programmed. You know, a couple of weeks ago, you came into the office and you had about 10 layers of clothes on, and each layer of clothing represented a belief that we obtain in childhood. And you strip those back.
Yeah.
And when you do, you reveal, I guess, what you could call your true intelligence,
Yeah.
or like who you really are.
Yeah.
But I've got a quote here. It says, the first 7 years of your life, you are just observing, downloading information. But this first 7 years can heavily influence the rest of your life. And this is what your demonstration or presentation was about. It's like removing those beliefs
Yeah.
and then adding your own once you've done that. Why do you think many people, they try to adopt new beliefs, right, throughout their life, but why do you think many people resort back to what you could call their old self?
Yeah. Like that observational thing that I did is like, it's like taking the layer of the masks off, and what I call is like, the limiting beliefs that's been passed on to the majority of us, almost every single one of us, and it's taking our authentic you out. So you're actually trying to be somebody else. So hence was like, let's take all the limiting beliefs, all the beliefs that they've taught you. It could be the teachers, could be obviously first the parents giving you all the things that they told you. And there was a I think there's a research or whatever was it. If you grew up in a family, in a low to middle class family, you get like 100,000 times by the time you're like 15. And if you're grown up in a family that's a wealthy family, you've heard no like 60, a lot less times. So your mind is wired that, you can only do this thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. So taking those layers off, what I suggest is taking those layers off and subconsciously sitting down, taking everything off, like stripping down to the bone, and then picking those beliefs that's actually going to serve you and putting it on and dressing yourself up beautifully for success. The reason it's hard to change after 7 years, because I think that quote is Bruce Lipton's quote, and Dr. Bruce Lipton, he speaks about, and it's proven that first 7 years, like because you're in theta state and you record everything, and for the rest of your life, those beliefs play subconscious. That's why I say 95% of the things that you do subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
So the reason people it's hard to change and bring in, adapt a new belief is because it's wired in you. And to be able to do that, yes, it's doable, but very challenging, very hard. And there's two ways, as Bruce Lipton explains it. There's two ways to change a belief system, or it's the things that are subconsciously wired in you now. To recondition yourself is two ways. One is when you're doing repetition, doing it every day, doing it for 20. They're saying that you got to do something for 66 days before it gets the new habit. One, and number two is listening to things that you want to change, the current belief that you have, to something better that serves you. Doing it just before you go to bed or as you wake up, because you're in a theta state, like meditation.
Yeah.
Before you go to bed. And
so like consciously, like focusing rather than going about your life subconsciously and letting it run you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How did you do it? Because you said you've been kind of stripping back these beliefs, right? The last 10 years plus.
Yeah.
Like, what was your process?
I've been doing it for years, man. And I think I can speak to this. And people say, "Oh no, you're doing so well already. You're Nathan. You are." I'm saying this with all humility. You're rich, right? But I came from a very poor to middle class family.
You're like an anomaly then, like because there's a quote: the biggest research done. The biggest predictor of wealth is who your children's friends' parents are.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
But you never had that. Like you said, you came from a lower middle class family.
Yeah.
So, what did you do?
So I had to rewire myself. This thing that says like a rich kid subconsciously does things. Like, if I'm playing, I was a kid and my uncle and one of my auntie's husband, they will play chess.
Yeah.
They were great chess players. So I'll watch them as a 5 or 6 year old, right? And then I'll play. If I play chess now, subconsciously I'll make those moves.
Yeah.
The right moves, right? So same as when you've grown up in a rich family, in a wealthy family, you make those moves subconsciously.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you carry on being successful. A lot of rich kids, they will do okay for a little while and then they lose all the money that their parents made. So for me, it's like my kids, I'm thinking about like, my kids, they'll just make the moves because they will be around me. So they will learn subconsciously. They will see like, what his father does.
Correct.
Or her father does, right? On the other hand, if you come from poor middle class family, which is majority of people, and including myself, is you need to learn the moves and consciously change the beliefs, the values, the skills, and that's what when you're thinking about repetition, doing things every day. And I'll tell you I'll tell you stories like with myself. Like, I've had a friend of mine. I was having dinner with her, and a friend of mine said, "Nathan, if somebody worked as hard as you do somebody else, you'll have offices all around New Zealand already." And I said, that's interesting.
That's an interesting concept,
right?
Yeah.
Because it's working hard and working smart, right? Now I know it's taken me 8 years for me to subconsciously, the moves that I'm making now. Like we just acquired, I'm saying this with humility, we acquired 3 businesses since the start of the year, and you know that, right?
Correct, yeah.
All because I'm a real estate guy, it's all real estate businesses. But I've had same thing, I've had opportunities the same, but in the last minute I've cancelled the moves.
Yeah. Because your beliefs were probably limiting you at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And okay.
So changing those, and that's been my whole life lesson. Now, one of the rituals that I have is like I always have cash in the car with me, and I use it every now and then. There's cards you can use everywhere, but I like to have cash in the card, a stack of them, in the car and at my house. So it's telling me subconsciously that it's just money. It's just money.
Yeah.
And every move that you make is done consciously, because when you come from a loving family like mine, but you have to turn the lights off because the bills they think the bill's gonna be more, but and subconsciously you're like, oh, money's like so scarce.
Yeah.
Right. So rewiring that, it takes a lot of work, man. It takes a lot of work, and then once you know it, you just make subconscious moves, and that's what my thing is. Like I say, like, if somebody wants to come and work with me in real estate or in the business, I want to work 6 months first with him or her to work on the beliefs, because once you change that,
And to open up their mind. Yeah.
success is inevitable. I'm telling you, like, it's like working hard. We know a lot of people that, my father was a hard worker. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody work harder than my dad. But we never had money. We never had enough money. But it's not just working hard. It's about the moves that you make.
Correct.
Like on the chessboard. The good, correct moves. And then you don't just undo those moves. Like, you're just moving forwards and moving forwards. And
Yeah.
moving forwards.
You just used an example before about acquiring businesses. And like your old belief was like, you couldn't do it. But now your belief is, I can do it. I'm going to buy these and it's going to move me forward, move the business forward.
Absolutely.
Is there any other beliefs that you can think of that you had to strip away?
Yeah. One of the things, like, it's very common in most families, just save money. Nobody ever got rich saving money. You don't save money. You invest money.
Yeah.
So that would be one of the things, like, now I'm thinking, like, where can we invest? How we can use the bank's money to make money. So, and if there was anything, I'm product of all the books that I've read, the people that I've decided to hang out with. And I think that once your belief changes, then the universe becomes like, it's like that much opportunities. It's absolutely insane.
It's like you're locked in a cage. Like, your mind's just in a cage, and it's so it is actually easy just to step out of that.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about it.
But it's hard because, like, I see.
But it is hard at the same time. But it's
Yeah.
such a simple like thought sometimes. Like you said, surround yourself with other people
Yeah.
who are rich. Maybe it depends where you want to go. But
Could be. Like, for me, is like, if I'm getting advice from somebody, a marriage advice, I want to see somebody who's married for 64 years. Not necessarily financially rich,
Yeah.
but somebody who's married for 64 years and they're happily married. You know what I mean? And if I want to give financial advice, I want to go with somebody who's like enormously crazy successful financially.
Yeah.
But I don't get wedding marriage advice from the guy who's divorced 15 times. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
a girl who's divorced five times. So find out who you get your advice from, and just carry you with it. Like you said, surround yourself with the right people.
I think a lot of people now with the internet, they know this concept of like, if you want to be somewhere, surround yourself with that group.
Yeah.
But the majority of people just go back into their old ways.
Yeah.
Like you see it all the time. And I'm sure you got like your family and friends, they pulled you back in.
Yeah.
It's like, how'd you just like break free from the chain?
This is, and lucky is the great thing about our organization. We got majority of our people are young. It's easier when you're younger. It's easier to break away from the chain.
Yeah.
But if you're older, let's say you're 57, now you got husband thinks like he's small poppy thinker. Your kids are like that. Your grandkids are like that. Your grandparents are like that. Now you're surrounded by a whole clan of small thinking people, that's why, like, you take this jacket off and somebody come back and put the jacket back on you.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I don't want it. But no, you look good in this.
Yeah.
Right? They don't allow you.
We don't want you to change. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. So it's hard work. And sometimes in my case, I had to break out. So I left the house and built my own place. And then I ended up building a house for my parents.
Yeah.
I said, here's your house,
Yeah.
but my house over here. I love you, but I'll stay away.
Thanks for letting me break free. And,
Exactly.
And here's your present for letting me do that.
Exactly. I love them to bits.
Yeah.
But I do tell them, like, it's like, I'll pay for the bills for the electricity bills. They still turn the heater off. I'm like, Mum, why would you turn it off? But that's like subconscious. That's what I mean by like
It's
it's
so true. Like this is drilled into me as well from like a young age.
Is that right?
Like
It's interesting,
everything, yeah.
So
but then that was drilled into my parents from their grandparents, and like a lot of people came from the war and like difficult times. So I think it's throughout society. Like
you know how they say, like, rich people get rich and poor people get poor, and that's behind because subconsciously they make the right moves. And the second generation rich, unless they've got the habits of the first generation rich, they would lose all the money that their father created, right?
Yeah.
So same thing. But what I mean by is like next generation got to learn those habits.
Yeah.
You got to teach. Like I'm thinking of like how am I going to train my kids to number one respect money, number two work hard, and number three still have the discipline to work like I do and respect the money, and to understand that everything is subconscious. It's up here. If we can teach them learn how to do business, learn how to invest money in the right places, and let it grow while they're working hard as well.
Yeah.
And that would be my.
That's the difficulty like rich or wealthy parents have with their rich kids. Like they already know they have the money. So it's like, what are they working towards? Can be difficult.
You mean that there's no meaning?
There's no meaning. Like, because I think when you're younger, you're more driven by money, and then you get the money maybe, and you're like, what's next?
Yeah.
But these rich kids start with money already.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's the purpose when you're younger? Maybe they find it later in life, but yeah, it must be difficult for those parents.
That is so true.
Yeah.
And I always think about that because that's why a lot of kids, rich or poor, majority of rich kids, they get into drugs and things.
Exactly.
So I'm mindful
Yeah.
of like, make sure, teach my kids that. I suppose drilling values and principles early in life, look, what happened to me, is very, very important. I mean, one of the things that they say is like, if you want to change your kids' lives, change the postcode.
Yeah.
Like, live in nice areas because you hang out, you're surrounded by nice houses, and
It opens up your mind.
it opens up your mind
to
man.
new possibilities. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been reading a book. It's kind of in line with this, author Jed McKenna, and it's more about spirituality or enlightenment. He talks about, but his process, it's called spiritual autolysis, and essentially he writes down a statement, and then he tries to find out if that statement is true.
Right.
And he goes through, and he does that until eventually all that's left is like the truth.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, did you ever have like a process? Maybe you journal or you write down your beliefs to try and find out, what's true to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like, when you look at when the mistakes that you make over and over and over again, it's like those are the things that, okay, like, why am I making the same mistakes? Like, okay, I made it. Let's say I'm looking to buy a house or looking to buy a business, but I keep on canceling the contract. Why is that? Maybe I don't believe in it. How can you rewire your mind that, yes, you can do it? If anybody can do it, you can do it. So I suppose a bunch of everything, like if it's journaling, that's one of the things that I do personally.
Okay.
If it is meditation, I do that. If it is me just listening to something before I go to sleep, something like I listen to a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, all these things, all these people that talk about how you can recondition your brain. Because like you just said, like, you know, it's a saying, like, you know, give me a kid under 7, I'll show you the man, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to create, and I've been trying to take all the masks off and only put the masks that I need, just like the demonstration that I did, right?
Yeah.
Just choosing my own outfit, whatever I want to wear.
Yeah.
Not somebody else's outfit, because that's not your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is want to be dual from health side, from health perspective, or mentally, spiritually, emotionally, or physically fit, I'll look at it. What do I need to do? What beliefs do I need to instill for me to be mentally fit? Okay, I need to do more, perhaps reading. I need to do more hard work, perhaps hard exercises. Like I need to challenge myself mentally, cold showers, or a cold plunge, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So doing those things and doing it over and over again is what would change your.
So you're kind of reviewing where you want to be, and then like kind of habits, implementing like some habits to help you get there.
Yeah.
And doing it consistently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
because that's where most people fall short. They stop doing it.
It's like, you know, this is a real estate podcast. So the real estate agents, I've seen people, agents that they want to do so well. They want to make, let's say, they want to make a GCI of 500,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you tell them that, okay, to make 500,000, you got to make 50 phone calls a day. You got to do deliveries every Thursday. You got to make 25 door knocks a day. And you've got to do this and this and this. But most people don't do that. If they do it 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and they stop doing. Why? Because they got to be their old habits. Because they don't believe that they're worth 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I say is like, if you want to do 500,000, you got to walk like a $500,000 earner.
Yeah.
You got to walk like a $500,000 agent. You got to talk like one. So you got to be before you can do. You got to do before you can have, right?
What do you think about fake it before you make it?
That's a good analogy. I was thinking about, like, I don't want to fake it, but what's what they mean by fake it before you make it. It's like you got to be that person, like act like that person.
Yeah.
And that, they bandied. That's the thing they bandied about, like, fake it before you make it. I said you got to be before you can do. Same thing, but it's so true.
That's what Conor McGregor said. Like when he was a plumber and he was driving one of those transit vans. Yeah. And he was imagining like holding, a wheel of a Lamborghini, and he was just envisioning himself already having that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it's true as well. You look at that guy. It certainly is. It's powerful, the mind.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
On real estate, what do you think is the biggest false belief real estate agents have about becoming successful in the industry?
I think the limiting beliefs or mooring lines that we have, agents have, that I'm not that kind of person to make $1 million a year. So going back to, I wasn't that kind of guy to make $1 million a year, but now I've made, first of all, making a decision to become a millionaire real estate agent. And then looking at, just like you said, if you want to be financially successful, you hang out with a financially successful person. If you want to have a happy marriage, you go and find out somebody who's happily married and have got 3 good happy kids, right? And if you want to be somebody who physically fit and looks good, you go and find out with that person, hang out with that person, right? So same as then, number one, make a decision that you're going to be a $500,000 agent or millionaire real estate agent. That sounds pretty cool, a millionaire real estate agent, right? Now then go and find out, what does a millionaire real estate agent, what does that person do? Yeah. Like, what kind of ritual they have. I say ideally go and find out what they're like, what's the success, how successful they are. And I go even beyond just successful, financially being successful. I say, go and find out what their home life is like. Because if you're a millionaire real estate agent and your home is a chaos, I don't call that success. So for me, it's a full all-around success.
Yeah.
So go and find out who you want to be like, and then find out, study what they do, how they walk, how they talk, what kind of prospect rituals they have, what's their ideal week, and then just implement it. Just implement exactly what that person do, and I can guarantee that you will become a millionaire if you did exactly what that person does. Because most people want to do that, but their belief don't allow them to.
Yeah.
And it's not that they don't want to; they want to, but in their mind, like, oh, no, I couldn't. He wakes up at 3:45 a.m., but I couldn't do that. You could do it, but you're just lazy to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also how bad you want it as well. I think that plays an important part.
Yeah.
People can lie to themselves and say, oh, I want to become a successful real estate agent, but do you really?
Yeah.
If you really want to do it, you'll do it.
If you really want to do
Yeah.
it, absolutely, you would do it. It will happen, and you would do everything you can to make it happen. So like, and I know when agents like week for us here, I'm like, do you really want it? Yeah, I want it. I'm like, okay, like how many phone calls can you make? I've been making 10 phone calls a day. Okay, can you make 25? Okay, let's give it a go, 25. And then 2 days later, they're inconsistent. I'm like, nah, you don't want it, man. You don't want it.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, I say, how many phone calls can you make? Okay, I'll give it. I'm thinking you do 50. No, I would like to do 100. Okay, you want to do 100? Yeah, I want to do 100. Okay, let's see. And then when they message me every day, 100 phone calls, 100 phone calls,
Yeah.
100 phone calls. And I say, like, the universe just makes things happen for you, because the universe, like, man, this good. My son over here or my daughter over here, she's working hard. So give him a bit of a reward, because he has been putting the hard yards.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody that goes to a gym 6 days a week and work their back off, and they're unhealthy, fat.
Yeah.
That's not the case. If you're putting the yards, I swear, you become successful.
Yeah. What was the moment like when you, let's say, hit your first goal? Like, I don't know what it was, but maybe you wanted to be a millionaire agent.
Yeah.
What was the feeling like?
I go back to, I want to drive the old cars, the 300C.
I think I know the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they were big and they were gangster, and I wanted one of those.
Yeah.
And then I went to Armstrong Prestige back then. I would have been, I don't know, I would have been 19 years old, maybe 20 years old. And they wouldn't even let me test drive it. And then I ended up one of those. I think it might have been 2021 that I ended up one of those, a year or so later, because I wanted it. And I'll put in the work, and it was a great feeling, man. It feels good, but it's like success over success, right?
Yeah.
You do this little success, you're like, oh yeah, I could do this, and then the next one, and the next one, and then you start hanging out with people who do a lot better than you.
Yeah.
So you kind of get away from the people that kind of like dragged you down.
Yeah.
They want you to become successful, but they wanted you to do it their way, and they're kind of pulling you back to the small poppy thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know, family, friends, whomever you were around at the time. And then I broke out of that, and then the people that I got surrounded by, they were like doing way bigger things than I was doing.
Yeah.
And like, they say, like, if you're the fifth person of the 5 people you hang out with,
Yeah.
the 6th person of the 5 people that you hang out with, that's absolutely 100% true. So if you want to change your net worth, you change your network, right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And with the real estate industry, this podcast, at Najee, we're trying to change the way it's perceived, right? So how do you think we can change the beliefs of agents?
Yeah.
Or like, what's a belief in the industry that needs to change?
The thing about in our industry, I would love to let people know that you can be successful in a huge way, and still take care of people, still tell the truth, still make it easy for people. Because it's led to believe that the more arrogant you are. Because unfortunately, the arrogance is so much in our industry. And the more successful you get, the bigger agents he'd become. Unfortunately, that's the case in not just New Zealand. The people that listen to us, obviously, they're the smart people. They're the good human beings that they don't want to get the ego get the best of them, right? But unfortunately, in our industry, the arrogance is so common that they think because they see this arrogant person who's maybe a top real estate agent in the office, they kind of emulate that person. They think it's good to be arrogant. It's good to be showing off. It's good to be like being not, because maybe that person, that top agent not taking care of people, which is the majority of the case, tell lies and bend the truth to just get the deals across the line.
Yeah.
They think that's the only way to do it. But for me, it's like you can do so well, become successful, regardless of what you bag, where you came from, and tell the truth, because that success there is like long-term success, and you cannot do well in life financially, but you can sleep at night well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, without taking any drugs.
Yeah.
It's so common in our industry,
It
unfortunately.
is. Like everyone just chases the money, and like you said, they do wrong to people, and guilt, everything seeps in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we've seen people that do those things in our industry, and then their marriage is in a chaos. The family home is in chaos. And what do you do? I talk about a whole all-around success, being successful financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And then financially as well, because that's what I call a balanced success.
Yeah.
And I think that's doable.
Nice.
Very doable.
A final question. What would you say to someone who is starting this journey of changing their beliefs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think your environment is so important. Even if you can't change the environment, because you might be 57 years old and it's very hard to leave your wife. We don't suggest you do that.
Yeah.
So
Or maybe they do.
perhaps, possibly,
You know,
yeah, maybe if
this is not an easy thing to do, right?
no, it isn't. But
Yeah.
excuse me. But you can actually do that. You can actually sow the vision to your wife, to your kids, that hey, I'm going to be doing a few things differently.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to change the whole next generation, or we change our whole life.
You can change your partner's mind. You like those people around you can change if they see whatever that it is that you're doing is working.
Yeah. I think you really can, because if you become a better person, if you become a better, more caring person, if you become more successful and you can pay for their lunches and you can take them away on holidays, they'll be on board, I guarantee.
Yeah.
So you need to sell the vision to the kids.
Yeah.
You need to sell the vision to the kids and to the wife or to the husband, and then go start working on yourself. Because as long as you work on yourself, and it's not we've seen this many times, it's not an easy job. So you got to be consciously working on yourself every single day.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, repetition. And then also while you're going to bed, before you go to bed, you listen to stuff that you want to, like, one of the things that I listen to, Think and Grow Rich, is 45 minutes or an hour, 45 minutes, short summary by Earl Nightingale. And I listen to it. I've slept to that thing. I swear I've memorized that thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's doing those things, and tell people, like, bear with me. My mom still think I'm crazy listening to those things. I swear.
Yeah.
I said, now I look at them like, those are the things. The people I'm telling you those things, it's hard because you probably want to sleep in the house, right? You don't want to get kicked out of the house. So those things there, just telling people, like, bear with me. It was easier for me because I just left the house. Not easy, hard, but it was perhaps I was only 18 years old.
Sometimes
19.
it's the best thing to do, though. You just remove yourself from the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. That identity iceberg, I'm not sure you're familiar with it. I'm sure if you haven't Googled identity iceberg, it talks about the environment. The first thing is, how everything's happen underneath in the iceberg?
Yeah.
So it talks about the environment. That's the first thing you change. And then your identity, your belief, your values, and your skills. And then above the iceberg, then your behavior, your actions, your decisions change. And then at the top, the results change. So the results are the last thing people see, but they don't see how much work goes underneath it, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things I'm thinking about. I'm suggesting to people who's thinking about changing their beliefs to consciously think about what is holding me back. What did my father think like?
Yeah.
What did my mother think like? And what are the things I need to change for me to become successful? And I just feel like, you know, it's you. One more thing I'm saying, we can wrap it up. We got birds at my parents' house. So at the family house, we got birds. And the birds, you lift up the top of the cage.
Yeah.
They don't jump out. They don't go out because the thing has been set. The ceiling has been set.
Yeah.
So consciously, like I do it even now and then. Like, you know, take the thing off, and then they still don't get out.
Yeah.
And then I have to actually go, and then they'll fly out because I'm like, you can't have these things in cage. So most of us human beings, these ceilings sit against
Exactly the same.
us.
It actually is exactly the
Right?
same. It's
And
scary, isn't it? Yeah.
And sometimes you need that person, mate, Bowie, Nathan, to come and say, hey, get out. You can get out. I promise. Just leave, fly, right?
It's open.
It's open.
So difficult.
So
Yeah, it's so easy. It's such a weird concept. Yeah.
it's crazy. And it actually disappoints me because I know it. I'm like, damn it, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, sometimes people say like, you know, you and a lot of people, like the reason a lot of people say like it's so hard, yet so fulfilling to work with you is because you've always challenged us.
Yeah.
And you need somebody like that. I feel like you need somebody like that. If you really want to change. If you don't really want to change, you just got to go somewhere and, like, you know, just pretend that you want to change.
Yeah.
You want to go to the gym but don't work out. If that's what you want to do, then it's okay. You go ahead and do that.
And those people leave. That's fine
right.
as well.
That's fine to
That's fine as well.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, Nathan. We'll put the video that you sent. What's the guy's name?
Dr. Bruce Lipton.
We'll put that video link in the description, and then we'll also put the iceberg on the screen to show that, like, process. But yeah, that was a great episode. It was a little bit different. I enjoyed it though.
He did. That's cool. Put the link for Earl Nightingale's Think and Grow Rich as well, because I think that would be it's helped me for sure.
Yeah, that book I've read, and that's exactly kind of what we discussed today.
That, man, I'm telling you, that book has changed my life. And anybody that I see, like, you know, most successful people that you talk to, like, that was one of the first books I ever read. So we put a link to that as well. There's a nice video and a link to the thing as well, if we can do that, to the book to purchase, Think and Grow Rich.
Awesome. Sounds good.
What a great episode.
Thank you, Nathan.
Week,
See you next week.
If you haven't subscribe to our channel, because that's what helps us keep on doing these episodes, huh?
Yeah, we now have an outro though from your man Dean.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
We don't need that.
Nah, we don't need that.
Okay, so we can...
But you're right. Subscribe. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star.
Too good.
Thank you.